You're watching The Breakfast Club.
Morning, everybody. It's DJ NV, Angela Yee, Charlamagne the Guy. We are The Breakfast Clubs. We got some special guests in the building.
That's right. Our guys are back.
Peas.
Yes, indeed.
What up, Charlamagne?
We got to start off.
MV.
We got to thank Will I Am first.
Hi.
Oh, yes, indeed.
Will I Am, we were trying to raise some money.
Not trying.
Well,
We
we
did
We
raise
were
money.
raising money.
Y'all raising some money.
Change for change.
Will I Am was in Africa at the time and called and donated at first $50,000, right? Was it
25.
25,000.
Yes.
And then called back and said that wasn't enough.
Yes.
And then came back and donated more. And we're so appreciative for that.
Thank you
thank
very
God.
much.
You were the start.
That actually made us feel like we're going to actually make this happen because this was our first ever telethon,
That's
radiothon.
right.
And it set the tone because rappers have egos. So it's like we had a point, a price point. You know what I'm saying? Will donated 50. So once we told Diddy that and told Khaled that, everybody wanted to outdo you.
Khaled said 51,000.
He did.
Yeah.
He did.
We really did. That's
And
crazy.
then everybody went over that. But we definitely appreciate it because you were that spark. And we're thankful and grateful for that.
Yeah, we was just with Gina Belafonte, Mr. Belafonte's daughter, a couple of days ago at this art Into Action Gallery Movement Summit. It was amazing, put on by our friend Yossi. And just to see people coming together that are, social activists out there in the world, philanthropists out there in the world, just folks eager to, pitch in and play their part. It was awesome to see like all different age ranges and demographics and nationalities coming. It was fresh.
And you guys are philanthropists also, so it's good that you
Absolutely.
can understand the importance of donating time, donating money, just to get the movement going.
Yeah, I was a product of philanthropy work. I was sponsored from the Philippines and brought to the U.S. and became a Black Eyed Peas. So it's really important for us to give back because I was given that opportunity. So we got to do the same thing,
All that philanthropy work, and they won't even let you in the club with Chanel West Coast, man.
Wow.
Ain't that messed up?
I was guilty by association.
That's how we're going to start
You
this.
try to drop your name.
I was already in. You saw me sliding in, right?
So did you get in that night?
Yes, I did.
Why were you with Chanel West Coast? She about to be the new Fergie? Y'all gonna put her in the Black Eyed Peas?
No. We just arrived at the same time, and I know her, and I guess we were friends that really tight that night.
Oh, so y'all wasn't really together. She was
just ran
just
into her
name
outside.
dropping.
Yeah. But
Now, she's the homie, though.
We've known her. We hung out, but we didn't like roll up that at the.
That's
that
the
moment.
worst. You get to a party and then you see somebody else and you be like, oh, now we all together.
So did you still go in the club?
Yeah, I still research. I call it researching. You gotta know what's out there.
So hold on, that night you didn't say, yo, she with me? You just went in, left her out there?
They didn't come together.
Yeah, we didn't come together. Yeah.
Just plead the fifth, son. The fifth.
Now y'all put out the record Street Living with the video.
Oh, man, I love that record.
A dope
Thank you.
tune.
Thank you. What'd you think, Charlamagne? When I said
A dope tune. Dope tune. And I read the article on Variety where it says y'all trading party songs for music with a purpose. What made y'all go in that direction?
Just when we did like the end, we were really like our antennas were up and we were just tuned in to what was going on. Obama just had got elected and there was a sense of like a desire to go out, and so that was like the temperature then. And then when we did Where's the Love, in 2004, we had wrote that song immediately after 9/11. So our antenna is always up, just sensing the vibes out there. And so right now, Street Living is really what I feel the world, especially here in the States, it's feeling. And, it's on our conscious. It just so happens that not many artists are speaking on it, but the athletes are standing up on it. So we're just playing our part, having our antenna up and being aware of the vibrations.
Yeah, and we've been on a hiatus for 8 years, so all the individual work that we've been doing, philanthropic endeavors, whether it was Will doing work in Boyle Heights with the STEM program, Apple doing work in the Philippines, me going to Standing Rock and actually being part of the whole indigenous movement and trying to do my part. It just was preparing us for this ultimate fight that we're embarking on now with Black Eyed Peas standing up and actually having a social message that goes throughout the world.
I love it because I never understand why artists get money, sell records, and then rap about the same stuff they've been doing. Like when it's time to make a stand, why can't you make a stand? Like you don't have nothing else to prove.
You don't need the money.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we've reached levels that we never thought we would get to, but the thing that jumped it all off is, that gave us our initial successes when we talked about things that were going on. Like, Where's the Love? We weren't trying to make a hit. It wasn't like, yo, man, we need to make a hit. And we've taken that scientific approach on making songs. Like, yo, we went in purposely to make a hit, and songs that were the result of that were like Ordinary People. That was like purposely trying to make a hit. But Where's the Love was not that. That was like, yo, let's talk about what's going on. And this is what street living is. And we wanted to make a video that reflected that. So doing the research on the type of vibe that we want to, have to support the song. So we went to like old Miles Davis and Coltrane, Blue Note footage. And you started going through all the like revolutionist pictures, whether it's in the past or today, because same fights that we fight today, our uncles and fathers and grandfathers fought the same fights.
Yeah, I know it's important for us to really touch on issues that are happening now and in the past, like immigration reform, the whole DACA, Dreamers, and
Prison industrial complex.
Yeah, exactly. Just using our platform and our voice to actually heighten those things and bring that to the masses and bring awareness.
How long ago did you guys record this? I'm just curious what was.
So I did the beat. I did the beat like a year and a half ago, and we just would touch up on it every 4 or 5 months, and then decided to put it out. So about a year and a half.
And actually, Street Living is part of the Masters of the Sun graphic novel. So if you notice in the beginning of the video, it actually incorporates Zulu X's head. Then at the end of the video, you see Masters of the Sun. So it all ties in with the whole component of this graphic novel.
Are y'all approaching the whole album the same way?
You mean this vibe?
Yes.
Yeah, this is the whole vibe for the whole jump. Yep. And
Is the label mad? Like, look, man.
no, we've had like, I remember going into the record company and playing a lot of the music for this to support Masters of the Sun, and there's been times where they're like, actually 2 times, we need massive Black Eyed Peas global hits.
I got a feeling.
Something so massive. I'm like, but we've done that for y'all, and yeah, we could put on our scientist hat and we could go in and do that, but that's not what we want to do right now.
Is there a way to do that though? Is there a way to put the medicine in the candy and
Like
still
a
give us
massive hit with a message.
the fist pump record, but still,
No.
it's not right.
Yeah, but that takes a lot of, you're risking a lot of emotions, or people are like, that's contrived, or I could feel that was an attempt to sell and benefit off of the things that you are talking about. And
But what about something like Where Is the Love? That didn't feel contrived.
So Where's the Love? Like I said, we wasn't trying to do a hit. That was like
An accidental hit. You didn't anticipate.
it just happened that way. It just so happened that 9/11 just had happened, and it was fresh on our conscience, and and we had Justin Timberlake on it before, just right when Justin Timberlake left NSYNC. He had just put out his solo project, and the stars aligned. But here, I don't know, you can't do the same trick here. Right now, it's like you're competing with everyone's bubble, everyone's feed, and that same trick. You didn't have everybody addicted to their phones in 2003, right? So you just got to hit them with honesty. You can't. Not that Where's the Love wasn't honest, it was, but going in to like sell records, whatever that means nowadays, when it's just about playlists. I don't know.
So you're trying to create a new algorithm, is what you're saying?
Yeah. So we just trying to do art. However many people hear it.
Yeah.
I think we've proven that we could swing for the parking lot and hit it out and land on the freeway. Other than that, like right now, we're just trying to do art and heart.
After such a long hiatus, Did you guys A, intend for it to be so long, and B, always knew you were going to come back together to put out another album?
Well,
It doesn't seem like it's that long either. I guess because your records, you hear them so much still.
right.
Yeah,
Well,
8 years is a long
well,
time.
for us,
presidents.
we're always constantly in the studio creating. So, it was just like a natural progression for us to stay, because we're best friends as well. So we always constantly are together, building, keeping each other informed on what we're doing individually, but always knowing that this is what got us there. This is what's going to get us there to the next.
But life happened though. So in those 8 years, Taboo, had cancer and fought it and beat it. So it doesn't really seem like it was a long. If I've closed my eyes and think we coming down the freaking sky playing the Super Bowl, it was just that was a year ago to me. But life did happen, and but nope, we didn't think. I didn't think it was going to be a 7.5 year break. That's just that ain't the
but I'll
We
tell you-
actually accumulated a few albums. We have 2 separate albums, with that time in our hand.
And I think the what he said about life happened, it brought us closer to understanding that reality. Sometimes you get faced with adversity, like a horrible disease like cancer, and you never know. One day you're living, the next day you could be gone. So we appreciated our brotherhood and our kinship more than ever, and we said to ourselves, "Yo, like let's not let a day pass us by. So let's keep on fighting and stand up for what we believe in."
Are you addressing the cancer on the album?
Yes.
Or
Good. Yeah.
you got it? What's the record?
Well, I did a song called "The Fight," which I put out with the American Cancer Society. I'm actually part of the Joe Biden Cancer Initiative as well. So we're doing a lot of work in the inner cities, but also on Indian reservations, which is important, as I've always told you. And just trying to do my part as a cancer survivor, but also as a leader and a spokesperson for hope and inspiration for the people that are going through the fight that I went through.
On Streets Living, and it's funny because I haven't had a chance to research this yet, but you said 10 years, no bail is the equivalent of 4 years at Yale. What's that mean? You mean financially or?
So the amount of money it costs to house, feed all the security guards and all the folks that are in prison for like 10 years is roughly around the same amount of money it takes to go to Yale.
Yikes. Wow. Wow. So what would proper prison reform look like to you guys?
So proper prison reform first is like petty crimes. People in there for, hold up, we from California. There's folks that are serving a lifetime sentence for selling marijuana, and marijuana is legal in California now.
Right.
Correct.
So let's start with that one first. Right. Second, you have this system that's put in place to like the 3-strike thing really just tripled, the amount of people that are in and out of prison. And then secondly, third, you have, teachers that get paid less than wardens and security in the prison. Correctional officer. So
Yeah, the probation system where people are on probation for like 5 years and something really small can actually land you right back in jail.
Like popping a wheelie.
yeah, so that kind of stuff is it just seems like it's like prey, targeting, it's business. So when you think of prisons, just think of another business, different type of housing. But these folks that are in there, they're penalized and then have to, what are you getting, 11 cents a day to make products that you sell and right, that you selling? To me, that, I don't know. And I'm not saying folks shouldn't be, incarcerated for wrongdoings, but we have a lot of folks that are in prison that, that are serving time for things that they should, really be, rehabilitated for. So like, it's mental health is the same thing. People aren't really being treated for mental health, right? They're just being medicated. And, the system, that's what we meant by, F the system. We're not like saying F the system as far as on some like, ignorant rebellious for rebellion sake, rebelling just for the sake of rebelling. It's like F the system because the system is flawed and people's lives are being taken from them, especially when back to the marijuana point. You know, how can you justify, you know, the legalizing marijuana when folks, you know, serving life when they should reverse that sentence.
That's interesting you brought that up because I was going to ask you about that. You say you can get fucked by the system or say fuck the system. Like, what's the most effective way to say fuck the system? Because I feel like we're all saying fuck the system, but what comes of that?
If we all believe that F the system should be, you know, there's certain areas that you should try to that we should all look and focus on to alter it, right? So F the system, take the word F out and say change the system. But when we say F the system, it's just like a more potent way of saying try our best to change the system.
Right.
Like when it comes to zoning, like in the hood, it's okay to have a liquor store next to a check cashing, next to a motel, next to a freaking, you know, a strip club down the street from a school.
Right.
Like that configuration just set up for failure. When if I was a business guy and I want to do create like a strip mall in Beverly Hills or Brentwood, I couldn't have that configuration there because it ain't zoned properly. Right? It's zoned to a point. Let me rephrase that. It's zoned properly, where you cannot have that configuration in Brentwood, motel, liquor store, check cashing. Check cashing, you ain't gonna have no check cashing in Brentwood because people are financially literate.
Right.
So that system that we have in our hood, where we're obese, diabetic, being fed poison, liquor stores, check cashing place, because when we get checks, we cash checks. We have no freaking like savings
No bank accounts.
or bank accounts to be able to grow money. And then there's the education system is kind of really screwed because the kids getting paid $5,000 a year for their education, resorting to selling illegal products. Now a lot of those now one of those products is now legal and folks is serving a lifetime sentence for it. Now that sounds like a effed up system that I say we try to change.
And also, it was important for us to do a call to action at the end of the video, because we can't just put out, you know, a song in a video without something that people could gravitate to and actually try to do their part as well. Because we wanted everybody to come and understand that this is a bigger issue than just us doing music or just art. It's like, it's really happening. I mean, Colin Kaepernick stood up for it. You know, Bennett stood up for it or took a knee for it. And we're just addressing that. And I wish more artists would stand up and do that as well.
What do you think about some of those other artists that are doing music and they're pushing drugs and pushing violence, and you know that now that you guys are totally turned around and pushing other messages?
To each his own, right? Just because we've seen this, like, because we've always been about our community, right? And that's not of recent. So ever since Black Eyed Peas have gotten some, you know, an inch of success, we've done things like toy drives or going to orphanages because we see the similarities between folks that are without, that our best friend has, like that Apple's gone through, as well as myself in the projects. But not everybody, if you don't feel that, you don't feel that. If that's not what you want to do, that's not what you want to do. But all I know is this is what the path that we chose to take, and inspiring folks to, you know, to wake up. But if you want to stay asleep, that's cool.
I
and
think
we're
sometimes
the balance, so you know.
Actually, it's not cool, but I don't feel like it's.
you can't force
I
somebody.
can't.
to
No,
do
you can't
that.
force anybody to do that.
So that's why we make ourselves the balance, you know, because we still enjoy that. But you know, making this record, we just couldn't allow ourselves to make another party song. So it's like we're the balance of, you know, music and our genre.
I want to say it's difficult to do, but then I think of somebody like Pac, you know, who was able to do both for whatever reason. Like, I don't understand why. Maybe it's just not in everybody to do it.
I think it's just so easy. It's been made so easy to get on. That easy is the way you make money.
I like the metaphor you used about the bar.
Yeah, the bar's actually I read it on Pete Rock's thread, and the sentence was the bar used to be so high that I used to jump to touch it. Now it's so low that I can't limbo under it. And that is true to, if you compare the talent that a John Coltrane and a Miles Davis had, or Quincy Jones, the talent that he had to be able to enter in the world of music. And the bar has been set low, which is poetic in its own sense, to allow everybody to get through, right? I understand that one. That's cool, right? So where it's like, hey, it was too much of an obstacle for folks to really get through in the past. Like all the things that you had to do, and it's been, democratized where it's so low. That's beautiful in a sense.
Is it?
In a sense that everybody has a shot, yeah. But as far as how we bastardized it and how we continue to like smudge and like throw, pull and drag our women through the mud, that's the part that just really fucks with me.
We've been doing that since our era, though. That's been going on since the 90s.
That's cool, great. Still fucked with me then?
Yeah.
I don't give a fuck how long it's been. It still fucks with me. Like, nigga, that's my mom, bro. Right? That's gonna be somebody's mom.
And
Right,
it's
yeah,
still something
and-
you could always be aware of and try to improve on.
Yeah, of course. And then
But Bitches
also,
Ain't Shit But Hoes and Tricks was a hard record, though. I mean, come on.
It was.
You can't deny that one. It was, though.
It was.
Yeah. Look, to each his own. That's what I mean. But if that's what you gravitate towards, that's what you gravitate towards. But know the repercussions of that.
That's a fact.
Right? So it could be hard. You can like it all you want. Right? You could like freaking, tons of sugar all you want. Just know that's gonna cause heart problems later.
Now, y'all.
Right?
Okay. Y'all from the West Coast. West Coast contributed to a lot of that in the 90s, the degradation of women. I mean, because, on the East, you had the Public Enemies and the KRS-Ones, but out West, you had Death Row with the whole Bitches Ain't Shit, but Hoes and Tricks ain't no fun if the homies
just
can't
to add on
have
to that, we
none.
also had the Far Sides, the Freestyle Fellowships, the Dilated Peoples, the Black Eyed Peas, to kind of say, look, even though it wasn't reaching the masses, there was still a culture of hip hop that was more on the underground tip.
Yeah, but
and
money's
that's why it
money.
was hard for us to even shop our demos back in the days, because it was predominantly gangster music in L.A. So record companies were like, I don't know, it's too different. Is it tangible enough? So we had to prove ourselves and do shows here and there, create a following, and we even did mailing lists. And then the crowd got bigger, and then they start smelling the coffee. And
I think sometimes people don't care about things until it affects them directly. Like, I know you guys talk about DACA, and I had the privilege of meeting some people who are going to be affected, in case DACA does not go through for the dreamers that are here. And like, I was watching a man who's been in this country from Mexico for 30 years that is about to be deported, or meeting somebody who actually couldn't even register to go to school or do any of the things and she's been living in this country since she was 4 years old and got into Harvard and couldn't go there because her mom wasn't registered and can't get a license, and her mom had to walk to work every day like 5 miles and walk home. And until I think people are affected directly, it seems like they don't care, because I posted about it and I saw people in the comments like, well, they're not supposed to be in this country, or they're here illegally, and they're not understanding, like, okay, they've been here since they were 4. They're positive, for this country, but why are they about to be deported just because Donald Trump has his own issues with people from certain places. He wants more people here from Norway, but he wants to send people of color away.
Yeah, that affects a lot of the school that I started in the ghetto that I'm from, the I Am Angel program, with college track. A lot of my kids are dreamers, and when we have our get-togethers, we're gonna have another one towards the end of the January. Their biggest concern is, are we going to have to go back to Mexico? Not even back to Mexico, because I wasn't born in Mexico. Right. They were born in Mexico, but they hadn't been in Mexico since they were 1, or 2 or 3, to your point. And it's something that we're concerned it hits my heart because I've known these kids and been supporting these kids ever since they were 12. Now they're about to graduate. They went from having 1.2s to 4.0s, 3.5s, and performing better than a lot of folks that are citizens. So how are you going to kick out, success? It's just disheartening.
I feel like Donald Trump has put it in people's heads that these people are here illegally and they're doing
They're
things,
criminals,
robbing people,
rapists.
and they're criminals, and they're not productive members of society, and
Well,
that's not true.
For me, as being of Mexican and Native American descent, it's personal because even though both my parents were born here in the United States, we still have family members that from our past, from our descendants, that came from Mexico and came to America and had an opportunity to live out the American dream. Being one of those people that came from the Philippines, came to the U.S. and lived out a dream, and now he's able to go back to the Philippines and actually provide opportunities for the kids to have education, to learn computer skills, and those are the type of things that the stories to change the narrative of the misconception about dreamers and people that actually just want to make a difference.
If it wasn't for immigrants, you wouldn't have an America, number one, and there would be no Black Eyed Peas.
No, there wouldn't be lights, bro. This dude named Nikola Tesla.
Yep.
It wouldn't be electricity the way we have it. Nikola Tesla was an immigrant. It just really, at the end of the day, it just seems like distractions, distortion, and division. And when we should be fighting for other things like, education reform. Because at the end of the day, education and encouraging folks to apply themselves and solve tomorrow's problems starting today is the solution, right? Everything at the core of every problem is education.
What have white people created? I was sitting around thinking about that the other day when we talk about deporting immigrants. Like, what have white people contributed to America?
Santa.
Wow.
I'm being serious. I'm asking a real question.
A lot of our sciences,
That they stole from Black scientists and ancient Egyptians, but continue.
Yeah. Boom on that. That's true. That's true. But space exploration. Hold up. You couldn't have a NASA if it wasn't for the bringing of Nazis and those scientists to America. So here's an enemy that we fought in World War II and won, and post World War II and won. We bringing them scientists to America and making them citizens to create something called NASA. So, there's opportunities even in the enemy to try to make enemies out of friends or enemies out of family members. It's just it breaks my heart all the time, but at the same time, it doesn't break my soul to go out there and continue to do the work.
So basically, white people haven't contributed nothing. Thank you, Will. We get it.
Would any of you ever consider running for political office?
Nah, Apple's gonna be president of the Philippines.
Well, yeah, the Philippines, yes.
Filipino.
There we go.
Well, the hospitals would be empty if we kicked out all the Filipinos because we're all nurses out here.
Yeah.
And and we actually had to study and have an education to come to America. So, it's not an easy task to come here. So we just.
Are you a citizen there?
Yeah.
It took him a long time though.
Yeah.
Like we was on tour and stuff. We couldn't get into certain countries because he had like a green card.
Oh.
And then remember the time when
He looked so sad.
became a citizen.
I'll go to the right. I go to the left.
No, when he became a citizen, we had like a party on tour. Yeah, it was dope.
So basically, you would Chanel West Coast in those situations. And you could,
But it's expensive and it is time consuming to
She
become a
came
citizen.
around where I was. And we were like, let's go. But she was already across the street, so I couldn't grab her.
Now, why do you think athletes are more vocal than musicians?
I think it's 1950 right now. The music is like wah bop, balloon bop, tutti frutti, twist to shout, and then you have your Muhammad Ali's. 60s ain't happened yet. It's 1950 right now. We just finished the war. People are celebrating. The war was really Iraq and Bush years, and Obama years with celebration and the artists, well, right? They're making money, twisting, shouting. And
But
the
some
60s
artists
about to
are
happen.
vocal, but maybe some of those songs aren't getting the support
I love Kendrick. I love
that they
J.
should.
Cole.
Cole.
Yeah.
Yep.
You know,
But
Rhapsody.
Chance.
Chance.
Yep.
Yeah.
I can't say that artists aren't. You know, some are and some aren't.
No, when I say that, I'm talking about money made. I'm talking about like dominant, right? So a flood's a flood. Right now we have a couple of like holes in the dam and water spewing out. And then you have the dam broken dam, and it's a flood of consciousness. And everybody's on the same page, and our communities are improving, right? What you have right now is like, you know, amazing artists that are committing and doing their stuff, and thank God for their sacrifices as far as going against the status quo and rhyming and making music from their conscious. That's great. And, you know, we just need more of them. Just to settle for 4 or 5 or 6 or even 10, that's still settling. We need billions to fight the things that we're up against.
I do think a lot of the hood artists are doing it, but they're just doing it in their own way. Like when 21 Savage, when he did the Nothing New record, you know, he was talking about what was going on in America. He just expressed it a different way. He said if he was Rosa Parks, he'd have shot the cracker that tried to make him get up. You know what I mean? So I think it's just different ways of approaching socially conscious issues.
It's true. It's a way to express your art, you know, whether it's a conscious message, but, you know, everybody has their own twist to it. We just simplified it, and as real and gritty as it was, as far as like the connotation, the usage of reality in the video, sometimes it's not pretty, but we have to put it out there. We always say it's like a diagnosis of what's going on. We you know, sometimes you get diagnosed with high blood pressure, cholesterol, cancer. Right. And we just put it out there like, yo, okay, if this is what's going on, you know that this is happening, you have to address these issues. And a lot of people don't want to hear that, but we diagnosed it and put it out there.
You know what? To your point though, Charlamagne, there is consciousness, and people do talk about what's happening, in their way, but it just seems like it's falling on deaf ears. Because when I go back to our neighborhoods, it don't seem like anybody's talking. So when you see the result, when you see the continuous of like, you know, what seems like a forever distorted community, and then the songs that people are talking about, it just that's when I feel like we're not, even though we are. I feel like we're not, because our communities aren't improving.
Those songs are not being talked about or played. It's the other songs that are.
So I guess that's why you got to have the all or nothing approach. Like I can't give you a song. I got to give you a whole project.
Yeah. And we got to like shed skin and commit regardless. Like we was doing the work in the community before we was talking about, you know, and making music about the community. Like Taboo is fighting fighting cancer, and he after he beat cancer, he wanted to do the work instead of talking about the work.
Right.
And we could bond together like that. Like, you know, and there's, you know, that's why I really like your radiothon. That was, you know, it sparked me up like, oh shit, here it come. We about to do it, right? It just felt urgent. It felt like, you know, something that could continue, right? Something that we all could play a part in, because that's the only thing I feel that's missing with us as a whole is, you know, how do we continue to contribute all the time?
Yeah.
It is all or nothing, because making a record, you know, we're so motivated, enthusiastic about it, and we were like, yo, even if we sell 10 records, it'll be all right, because we did this, you know, we're proud of this body of work,
right,
and that we would like to put out there with the message, and that's, you know, that's the all.
And having an effective approach on how you use your platform and your voice. Because you guys have an ultimate platform and voice here. People are listening to you, millions of listeners, people that are watching you guys and are inspired by you. And when you have that tool to be able to speak to millions of people, it's like, you know, if you spark an inspiration or motivation to give people that, like that, whoa, I want to join this fight.
Yeah.
Right?
You know what's awesome too? My brother's here with me. He travels with me now, so we were driving, my older brother, we were driving down New York, and he was like, oh, Willie, that's Madison Square Garden. Oh, slow down the car, let's take a picture. And I just saw my big brother's excitement of like, he was like, that's a mecca for basketball, Willie. I want to bring my son, he'll love it. So I just saw my brother light up. I'm like, wow, I'm in New York all the time. I see that. Oh, that's right, my brother. I ain't never really seen that.
Did he just come home?
Come again?
Did he just come home? Was he locked up? Or?
Yeah, my brother. Oh, 5 years ago he was.
Okay.
But the same excitement when we walked into this building. He said, "Oh, well, it's Breakfast Club." Oh man! And I saw, like, to the point as far as like platform, like the way my brother felt about the Breakfast Club is the same way he felt when he saw, the
Garden.
the garden, and that's powerful what you guys have built. And that's the reason why my soul lit up with the call. You know.
Congrats on that Source joint too.
Oh,
Thank you.
Thank you very
Since the
much.
last time we were here, we were truly inspired because we've been doing a lot of panels and just talking, and we've been wanting to build that and maybe even put it in our touring, And so we're really inspired by you guys just being able to express ourselves and talk.
Thank you, man. I love what y'all doing with the prison industrial complex too, because one thing that y'all said in the song was more people in prison now than it was picking cotton, which I think people don't realize.
It's crazy.
Like, it's more indentured, I call them indentured service, more indentured servitude going on now in prison complexes than it was slavery out here when slavery was legal.
Yeah, that's like I know my grandma. Like I close my eyes, I see my grandma, rest in peace. My grandma knew her grandma the same way. My grandma was born in 1920. My grandma's grandma was 18-something. Slavery, bro. That's not that long ago. When if I could picture that woman, and she was born in Picayune, Mississippi, on some farm, and then she lived on that farm, plantation, and then her mama and her grandma. That wasn't that long ago. And when you think of the work and the servants that they were compared to, like, when my brother got out, he was like, Willie, it's crazy in there. We getting paid 11 cents a day, making stuff that you buy at the store. Like, not license plates, products. Like, oh, what? And, yeah.
What are some of the other songs on the album? Is it completely ready to go? You guys got everything together?
So album, we was having this conversation of into action. I think an album for us, in its typical sense, is really a waste of time. 12 songs, whatever. For us, this Masters of the Sun project is the project. And so, street living is like the theme through the whole entire book and experience when you watch the book with the app. And then we have other songs like, Ring the Alarm. We have Constant, and the whole mood is that. We made sure we were consistent with the mood, and we scored it with Hans Zimmer. And but as far as like making songs for playlists right now, that's a waste of time for us right now.
Do you think?
And what's cool, Charlamagne, is we're going to Sundance next week to actually premiere the VR experience.
Oh, wow. Do you think that, because y'all said in Variety that the music is so disposable nowadays, is that another reason you're like, I'm not going to give them an album, they're going to care about it this week and be on to something else next?
Yeah, so like, doing 12, 15 songs when, like I said, everybody is on their feed. They live on their feed. They literally live on their feed. And from that, and then they go to the streaming platforms, and the playlists really dominate.
Correct.
Playlists, they actually, there's more attention and care to making a playlist than artists are actually doing for an album. And you're competing with playlists. So when there's new technology that allows you to build other experiences and worlds, and that I want to take advantage of the technology that's there. And yep.
And that's why we chose not to just give you an album and traditional,
Traditional form.
Yeah, and that's cool, but we wanted to give you an experience with the graphic novel, the VR, AR.
Yeah, so I rather focus on what we're doing, and the goal is to, how do we get the other streaming, which is like series? How do we like focus in this realm? And the end result, success looks like Masters of the Sun is a series, and it's 8 hours, live action. That to me is, yep, that's what it looks like.
And
That's-
not to mention Marvel. Being part of this partnership with Marvel is like, that's like a dream come true for us as content creators to have that stamp and be part of the Marvel universe.
Right.
So
Did you guys see Black Panther yet?
I ain't
This
seen it
is
yet.
You wanna
Inside
see that?
scoop.
You saw it?
No, I haven't.
No, we
I
haven't seen it.
figured you
I ain't
guys.
seen it yet. I want to see that.
Me too. Why do you think Fergie's new project didn't work? Because the music was solid.
I think so. Didn't work. That's a hard reality. It's something that even this project faces. Eminem, Katy Perry,
Miley Cyrus.
even Taylor Swift. One can say didn't work compared to Taylor Swift's last project.
Yeah.
One can say that Miley Cyrus project didn't work. This one compared to the other one too. So Eminem's compared to his last installment. So everyone is facing didn't work. It worked to the real hardcore fans though, like the ones that were waiting and itching for it. It worked as far as like when and where you see it throughout your feeds. It's just that I don't think a mechanism has been put in place to really judge, people's, whether they tiptoe, dive deep in. You're judging dive deeps, like people that dive deep in, and that is the metric at which people are rating success instead of like how many eyeballs actually came across it,
Right.
how many ears actually came across it. We don't have the new metric put in place.
It's not streams?
Well, it's difficult. It is streams.
And
to a
also with
certain
streams,
extent.
it's like you
Streams-
can't even. It's like one.
It's more
What's the measure of that?
more single
that
driven,
equals
150 per.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
That's
then
crazy.
how about, a likes? Ain't no money for likes, bro. Like there's no real like financial transaction on a like, right? For when you make art.
It makes
So-
people feel good, but there's no like.
But and yeah, you could have a whole bunch of fans and a bunch of interaction and engagement, and then you could monetize it elsewhere. That's true. But as far as like the system that was put in place for, I made a record, people heard it because they bought it.
Right.
I made money. That's what
That's different.
that was the system back then. That system ain't put in place now. That's the reason why when I think of like, a series, all I know is that when they filmed Stranger Things, somebody got paid to show up. The craftsman service, the hair and makeup people, they got paid. The actors, the writers, they got paid. And, the series is where it's at. Game of Thrones, they got paid, bro. Narcos, they got paid.
But everybody ain't on that level where they can create a series, though. Like, you got to be a certain type of artist with a certain brand to be able to get a series.
That's serious. But yes, you're right. But that's the reason why I don't want to just like, I think artists nowadays that were big and returning, they are, they're jeopardizing their progress because they're addicted to how they used to do it.
It's a whole new world.
True indeed.
Yeah, and you have to always, think about the strategy that you're rolling out and how you want to implement, how you want to. If you've been gone for a long time, you want to come back with an impact, move the needle somehow. Whether it's like inches or step by step.
Also,
because-
your fans are different too.
Yeah,
Like like let's say Eminem's fans, for example. Eminem's fans bought music. New fans now are not buying music;
Right.
they're streaming. So Eminem's fans who were Eminem fans are older. They're out of that streaming demographic.
Or they might have all been Trump supporters, so they was turned off by his new wokeness. that could have been it as well.
But it's cool to hear, on some of the comments like, yo, this is the Black Eyed Peas, that I remember from Joints and Jams and Falling Up and
Right.
Behind the Front.
Yeah, but we won't make money from those
Yeah,
comments.
wait, I gotta finish my point. So that it's refreshing, although there is no money from those,
Comments.
per se. It's refreshing to feel that feeling that we had when we were teenagers and just young bucks in the game coming out doing Smoking Grooves with Busta Rhymes and Gangstar and Public Enemy, and just that feeling, that resurgence for us. Because sometimes you get caught up in like, oh, well, I made it. I don't have to push the envelope. I'm good. I'm comfortable. But for us, we're like always trying to find that hunger within ourselves to keep on pushing.
Is there a way to get it back? Like, could can a Fergie get it back?
Get what back?
Like just that momentum she had, I guess, a decade ago.
People are waiting for the next. I think the only way to really get it, you either gotta. Bruno Mars is the only dude I see that's like working. He works. Bruno Mars doesn't let up. That's a machine. That's a person. He feels like he's a new artist every time.
Right.
They'll get tired of it eventually, though. They will. That's just the way the game goes.
Yeah, but for him being a new artist every single time and the amount of work he puts in and the hunger, I see it every time Bruno Mars puts out a new project, and you got to do it that way. You got to be like that. You can't have this like, oh, I'm back. They just going, everybody, I'm back. Either you reinventing and you starting from zero, or you starting from zero and you starting from zero. You always got to start from zero is my point. You cannot come in with a 1 before the 0 and starting from 10 or 100. Nah, nigga, you can't do that, bro.
Right.
The people are hungrier. There's more, right? And that's what Cardi B, she hungry, right? And I salute how hungry and how freaking she dominated with 4 or 5 songs, but you think she got 1,000 songs because her personality and how she treats the platform is like, hats off to her.
Don't you think it's something to be said about not knowing? Meaning that you can know too much. So like when you approaching things the first time, you don't even know what it is. So you're just free. But once you learn something and you have some success, now you're not as free because you got a formula you're following.
And then that's when like, reinventing, because I did not know you were gonna do that, is powerful. Like when you always flip it up, like, oh man, I didn't even expect that one. You hit me with a doozy. I thought you were gonna hit me with the right arm. You kicked me with your freaking kneecap. That was awesome. I didn't see that one coming.
Right.
So you guys are at 0 now, you would say, starting at 0 again.
Yeah.
Well, that's the feeling. That's the feeling. And it's cool to be able to venture out into other worlds, like technology world or the graphic novel world, just these places where you get inspiration outside of music to bring that into I'm a student of culture and trying to embrace it and see how we could apply these new ways of creating universes and worlds for our project.
And you always got to be like 4 steps ahead. So when we did the graphic novel, we knew that we had the AR in our bag. We knew we had the VR in our bag. Just like we know we have the next 2 installments in the bag already.
Yeah.
As far as the experiences. Actually 3. And 3 is cha-ching. Like we already know the cash out. I see it. It's down the street to the right, down the street to the left, straight to the right. I see it. It's already aligned. Partners are aligned. Done. And then we move on to the next. But you got to be able to see the matrix.
And it's not music.
Music is a part of it.
It's a part of it.
Component.
Music
Yeah.
is like it's like if we had a bar, we not making money off of music. We selling alcohol and bar food, and we have to have music though. You can't have a bar without music. You can't have a restaurant without music. It's just there's other things you're supposed to monetize. Ask Kanye, he'll tell you shoes. Ask Rihanna, she'll tell you makeup and all this other stuff.
Yep.
Right? Ask Michael Jackson, he'll tell you it was actually the tours that where he made the most of the money. Lionel Richie will tell you the same thing.
Does that apply for newer artists too, though?
Even more so newer artists, because you ain't making money off of music.
Damn.
All right. Well, we appreciate you guys for joining us as always.
Thank you.
It's the Black Eyed Peas. It's the Breakfast Club. Good morning.